Sorry. Float family, friends. Welcome to the Floating Light Live, where we articulate, postulate, and disseminate the post-float glow. My name is Joshua, and I will be your host tonight. We're changing things up a little bit, as we always do on this show. Tonight on the Floating Light Live, we have David Vanden Bloomen as our guest.
Thank you for having me.
David is the owner of 920 Industries.com. Correct. Which I was checking out earlier today. So we can talk about that later.
Very good.
David is also an avid BMX biker, which we'll also get into. Pardon me while I look at my script. I'm sorry. I'm really nervous. This is our...
You're doing great, Josh.
Yeah, you're doing good, Josh.
Float family and friends. This is an interactive show. We see all your comments live, as you know, so we look forward to responding. Show us some love by hitting that love button. Tag your friends in the chat below. And make sure to comment again.
And invite
Let's go
all
to the
your
intro.
friends.
Okay.
My producer just got up and walked away right when I said that.
Sorry.
What's up, guys? Welcome. We're back.
What's up,
It's been a
everybody?
minute. I don't know where we are.
It's been a while, like 2 weeks, right?
I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
been a
been
while.
3.
Oh yeah, we had
Wow.
we had
Since I
Tiny
last-
Roundtable 2 weeks in a row, which is
Yeah,
a good
it's
time.
Crazy.
That's our experimental show.
So it's been 3 weeks.
You weren't here for
Yeah.
the last one, bro.
No, I know I wasn't here.
Yeah. Live as well.
I apologize.
Road.
So David, you just got out of a float. How are you feeling?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Yes, I have no pains whatsoever.
Nice.
It's undescribable, but still describable in the same token of my knees and ankles hurt 24/7. They don't hurt right now, so I'm enjoying just.
It's a beautiful thing, being
Yes.
pain-free.
Oh,
Yeah.
very much so.
That's something to think about until you actually have it. Until you're actually in that state.
Right.
And then it's amazing.
Your hearing too. Seems like my hearing is way more acute.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting side effect.
I dig.
Right now?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it.
It's like
Yeah, I get
it's
that.
like celebrated and retuned. So, like it's like when you go back in your car the next day at like Sunday morning or something, and it's like blaring, or like when you put on TV and it's blaring, you don't notice until.
Do you do like a silent float, or do you go ahead with the music?
I use the music.
You do?
Yeah, I like the. I'm gonna guess it's 432, 532 megahertz. Beautiful. Puts you into a different place.
Yeah. Do you know what track you're listening to?
Have no idea.
What was that
about it.
one, John? What was the one that you set me up with?
Stellar drum.
Stellar Drum. You guys.
Drone.
Oh,
Stellar
Stellar Drone. Guys, seriously, if you haven't used that one and you're one to use, actually, I was one to go completely silent, but I decided to try the Stellar Drone on John's recommendation. Amazing track. It
Is it
really puts you into the float state of mind.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you guys used that one?
No, I usually use the chakra track. It has these very low hums in it that I really like. So usually when I float, I'll actually flip all the way around, and my feet will be by
Oh yeah, you do
the
that
jets. Then the energy transfers through like the speakers through me, and then my body just sits and just hums.
So you mean you're like aligning like a compass needle?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
absolutely.
you talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's like
That's
kind
really
of like
interesting.
a really cool experience to be able to feel that through music. Granted, I mean, music in general can heal in so many different ways, but being able to just light that up through tones, especially with like the 432 or the 558 or the 832 that we have, and all those different things, it all helps different things as well.
Yeah, right on. So David, let's talk to you for a little bit, since you're our guest of honor tonight.
I'm just enjoying just sitting here right now, man.
Nice, you're nice and blissed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to.
Bliss is an awesome word to describe.
I'm sorry to try to pull you out of that. Well, like I said, I was taking a look at your website, 920industries.com.
Thank you.
Which I'm ashamed to say we've known each other for a while now, and I haven't done yet. But it is.
I'll call him out on it later.
I'm sorry, man.
No.
But no, I've enjoyed our time together doing the Now Trending podcast. Like, I've gotten to know you personally, and it's cool. I mean, you have a great personality, so I really enjoyed producing that show with you. And I think that we've sort of broken the ice a little bit. I mean, it took a while, but I think the last time we got together, there was some banter.
Yes,
that was more friendly than business.
You know, I can't thank you enough, because you make us sound good and look good.
Well, I think
Oh yeah.
I do what I can, but Josh is the one who really sets up the cameras on that show. But
I'm really missing our sunset, because it made us all like glow more right now.
I know we're going into that dark time of year.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to 4:30 pitch black.
No.
That's.
It's super weird here too, because we usually arrive about 3:30, sometimes during winter time.
Oh man.
We'll be walking around, and we'll come up front because we're like in the back doing something, or we're doing floats, and we'll come up, and we'll come back out front, and it's like pitch black, and you're like, wasn't it just like light out like 5 minutes ago?
I guess I should have asked this question many weeks ago. When it snows, how does that work? Can you take a walk outside and stand in the freezing cold after?
Sure.
After your float?
Yeah.
Most people usually sit and relax in the lounge. They just kind of hang out. And then when they're ready to go, usually, obviously, they'll come in with jackets or scarves. So then they'll rebundle back up and prepare themselves for going back outside. That's kind of how we do have the float center set up. As when you start up here, it's say 70 degrees. And the further back you go, that slight increase in temperature is raised. Once you hit the suite, it's already 80, 90 degrees in there.
And for a person who does not like humidity and does not like heat, it's very enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Incredibly. I've never been one that liked heat or sunlight. Much easier for me to make myself warmer than it is to cool down. And this doesn't. I have no bad reaction, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
John just recently told me about the progression of the environmental changes, which I was like, okay, I never put together the pieces of it, but I definitely noticed the effect.
Yes.
And he said that's exactly what he's going for.
100%. And I remember there's been times, I'm sure you've sat here, till really late at night talking to John. And you'll go from, being in the lounge, and all of a sudden it's 11 o'clock at night and the heat turns off at 10. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there like, oh man, it's kind of chilly in here. And they're like, oh yeah, the heat turned off. And you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing that happens in wintertime,
We could talk for hours on end. So we have a referee that kind of keeps us in check. Sometimes. But when you're talking about business you start to catch and learn things from other people's experiences, and all of a sudden you lose track of time, and that's great. It's a great feeling, as long as you stay on track.
Right.
But we don't.
Right.
and so be it. We still, but yes, you can lose track of time really quick.
Yeah, and even, with our guests here, I've had so many guests who, enjoy those conversations that we do sit and have with them. And there's so many times where they'll be like, oh, like, what time is it? And I'll be like, oh, it's like 11:30. They're like, what, it's 11:30 at night? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened to my mom when she floated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
She had a flotage that day.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember, like, we had sat down and chatted for, I don't know how long it was, an hour, 2 hours, something like that.
Yep.
And she just looked at her phone and she was like, oh my God, like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My guess would be that everybody that floats, especially their first time, my first time, I think I still, to this day, it's just funny to think about it. I figured I was in there maybe 25, 30 minutes. 90 minutes later, and surprised me.
Yeah.
There was a long blink in between going in and coming out. That was
Wow.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
that's great. Like, I just had a flotage for the first time myself last weekend, and yeah, that definitely,
That's awesome.
it was a different experience. I fell asleep in the tank, which I normally don't do.
I wish I could have recorded Josh walking out.
Oh
of
my
room.
God,
I
I
was
a
thing
wreck.
ever. I thought he was drunk, and I was like asking him questions. I'm like, you know what, dude? Come on, we're just gonna bring you to your room.
Yeah, I needed
Go
help.
float. You're fine.
Wow.
he was that far gone.
Yeah, she was
I
like
think that's
asking.
therapeutic though for people to lose. There's some people that can't handle the losing track of time.
Oh, absolutely.
But that falling asleep, that is really.
When you fall asleep in there, it is beautiful. It is the best. It's not like you might think like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on this experience because I fell asleep during it, but you're not missing out. Your mind is still active. You're dreaming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit vice versa. I think, sometimes people get more out of actually sleeping sometimes because maybe that's what their body needs,
Yep.
or that's just what they need in general, is that reset. People are like, oh, but like I slept the whole time, and I'm like, yay, you! I'm so happy for you. And they're like, well, I feel like I missed out. I'm like, dude, I wish I could get back to that level. Like that's where like a lot of people want to be, is just to get that sleep, that rest that they do need. And what is it, John? For an
1
hour, an hour float is the equivalent of 4 hours of rest
REM
for
sleep.
of
Mm.
REM
There.
sleep. Yep.
Is that right?
Which-
Yeah. I mean, I believe it 100%.
Which my sleep is awful. So
That's why that blank happened.
yeah, and then
Reset.
yeah, beautiful. Yes, beautiful. That falling asleep and thinking you're missing out. There's that just right before you think you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
That normally doesn't last that long, so it's really cool to be in that place. Really,
Oh, that's a place where I've trained my mind to be able to exist in. It's something that I've learned through my pursuit of lucid dreaming, is the art of maintaining consciousness while you're sleeping. And it's definitely a thing.
It's so hard.
And you can do it. You can maintain consciousness even when you're not dreaming yet, but you're just in the dark void. And it's a place to exist. And it's not scary. I mean, it might sound like that's a scary thing, but it's not. It's very restful and allows you to do some thinking that you wouldn't normally be able to do.
I think there's a misconception though, in the sense of certain people don't want to hear that voice in their head. That's not, at least.
Well, if you don't want to,
but no, you can control that.
if you don't want to voice, you probably need to hear that voice.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
100% true. And like, I can't tell you how many guests where I'll talk to people outside of here and I'll be like, hey, have you ever heard of this? And they're like, oh, well, I could never do that. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, I'm scared of my own thoughts. Why? Well, you don't know what it's like to be in this brain. Why are you scared of it though?
Well, that's a terrible place to be. I mean, I understand it because I've
absolutely
I've been there. Okay, so I know. But if you want to progress and mature as a human being, you've got to confront that space.
And that's so true. Like, everything starts from within you. And Josh and I got into a really deep conversation before live today. And we were talking about loving yourself. How many people can honestly say that they love themselves?
You should tell yourself that every day. You should look in the mirror and love that person who you see. And if you don't love that person that you see,
change.
You should.
And that's the thing. Like, loving is beyond just looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I love you. Because it's so beyond that. Because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm not pretty enough, or I don't like this about me, or I don't like that about me, that's not loving yourself. Or if you're getting down on yourself, that's not loving yourself either. So there's things like that are, it's that constant, it's a constant battle.
It's battle.
And I'm going through it right now. I'm really focusing on loving myself more. And I was telling Josh, the love that I have to give people is amazing. And I was talking to my mentor about it on Monday, and we were finally like, well, let's start turning this like inwardly. Like, you need to love yourself. And I got really emotional about it. And I was like, the love that I have for people can be overwhelming. So when I turn it inwardly, it can be overwhelming because it's so powerful. And maybe that's why other people are scared to either love themselves, or when people are in my presence, maybe we don't click. But that's because I am either forcing them to rise up, or there's something that I bring out of them that maybe they're not ready to see or wanting to confront yet. And that's one of the things too, where it's like, you got to get to that point of just being.
That's a really good way. That's a great way to describe it. In the sense of what you're talking about, anything that follows I am.
Correct.
I am proud. I am strong. Your posture raises, and as long as you can put the I am and not have negative connotation to the backside of that, you should. It's tough. It is tough. I give it up to anybody who can. I'll call it stop the bus.
Yep.
And take a minute and really look deep inside you once. Some people do say it's scary.
Yeah.
But the man in the mirror it all starts with that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything around you.
Absolutely. And actually floating, initially I had brought this up. I was floating and I was laying in the tank and I could see like a hand wrapped around my throat, and there was a bubble that came out, and it was stating like all of my insecurities. Like, you're not enough, you're fat, you're ugly, you're not pretty enough. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is how I'm treating myself. Like, and that was a moment where I was like, okay, Megan, like, any negative thing I say about myself, I have to fill myself back up with 5 positives. So it would start out, I'm strong, I am powerful, I am worthy, I am enough. And that's kind of how it had started. And that flip, that switch, started manifesting so many better things in my life. People who started coming in, higher vibrations that started coming in. And all these people that, like, there's people who are in my presence and they're just like, you see them just like relax, and you're just like, okay, like, you're good now.
Man, that's, as long as you always talk positive about yourself.
Correct.
And not only that, it's difficult to get into a certain mindset. I do kind of like it when somebody's not angry, mad, but they take it out on you.
Correct.
And I now can control, which I have never been able to do that up until a very short time ago, to stand back and go, wow, that's really sucks that you're looking at your life that way.
Right.
Because there are other people in this world that have it so much more worse than you.
Correct.
Incredibly worse. When's the last time that you thought about, where is my next meal?
Right.
Do I have a roof over my head? We are blessed in this country to not go, tomorrow I might not see you.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember what the actual statistic is, but if you have a roof over your head, you know where your next meal is coming from. You're in like the top 90%, or you're
1%.
Yeah.
You're
Which is
more wealthy than
Most of the
90%,
world.
Correct.
90-some% of
scary.
the world.
That's scary.
It's
It's
amazing.
terrifying.
It's something, in the first world, we are very, I guess I would say, short-sighted of, we just don't see the fact that life is still suffering for a lot of people. I mean, life is suffering for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's a different kind of suffering for a lot of people than what we have.
I think a lot of us take things for granted, and once you can stand back and recognize that, it actually gets really cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
it gives us a lot to be grateful for, and can help you to not focus on those minor issues.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, even when people say attack you or are mad at you, I started looking at it like, what is going on with you? Like, why are you putting like this on me? Like, I'm sorry that you're having this argument with yourself. Like, it's usually out of themselves. Like, it's an argument that they're having within themselves that they're not ready to face, maybe.
Or don't know how.
Or exactly, 100%. And I've been that person too. Like, not all of us know how to handle things or situations, but that's always something that you can grow from and learn from, and to always be better than the version that you were yesterday, or the person you were yesterday. And I full-heartedly, believe that, what people project onto us isn't always our fault, or it's not always on us, because it's on them. Like, depending how some people can look at it. It depends kind of the situation as well. But I had,
it's such a fine line.
Correct. Absolutely.
With self-control, I can admit, there's not a lot of me that has self-control. But then I look at that scenario and go, maybe he had a fight with his wife before, or maybe,
Right.
Maybe he is stressed right out because he doesn't know where his next meal goes.
Correct.
Or comes from, excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
that's something I really struggle with. I face a lot of negativity from individuals in my job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the core
That's
of
not
my
necessarily
job.
directed at you,
Yeah.
but you're
Right,
the one
and
taking the
it's
hit.
really easy for me to just lose sight of the fact that, one, it's not personal, it's not about
Yep.
me,
Yep.
and two, they're probably projecting some issues.
Correct. And that's the thing, like, we're so used to being the victim ourselves. We put ourselves as the victim a lot. Like, oh, poor me, this happened to me, or this person did this to me, but this other person does it though too, but they're taking it out on me.
And now you're justifying the behavior.
Correct.
So
Another fine line.
Well, one thing about being the victim and trying to, I guess, live in that state of being the victim is you are taking away so much of your strength.
Absolutely.
Like, every individual, I don't think most people have any idea how strong they can be. Every person, every human being has unbelievable potential. That's why we have hero epics. That's why we have tales of people slaying dragons and getting the gold. It's not about the dragons and the gold. It's about finding strength within yourself to face your own dragons. And the reward, the gold, is your happiness. And it's the prosperity of those around you, the people that you care about, because you have found strength to protect them and bring them up with you. But I wanted to segue from that topic into, because Dave, I know you found a lot of strength personally. You told me before the show that when you were born, you had some physical issues.
Yes, big time. And that leads kind of back to the biking. I'm thankful every day that I can walk in a straight line.
Wow.
That for me to pedal a bike is incredible. I'm sure you're familiar with Forrest Gump. Okay, the braces that he wore, I had those same things on my legs.
Whoa.
I was born with my feet like that. So for me, hence the knees and ankles.
Yep.
I have to.
I
have to be grateful that I can do it, and that's.
Shouldn't have a name.
I have no idea.
You don't know.
I have no
Did you
idea.
do physical therapy or? Right.
I can tell you, I put my parents through a living hell.
Yeah. So pretty much it was you had to live in these braces.
Yep, they were a straight brace from my thigh to my ankle that had a built-in shoe, and go back to taking things for granted. My mom and dad did a wonderful thing to a pair of the braces and the leather shoes, because they're like leather boots. They cut the toes off, so I could have my toes out in the summer. Doesn't sound like a bad deal until you're the one walking around in boots all summer long.
Right.
But from what I understand, it didn't slow me down very much. But I remember real glimpse pieces. And I think that has a lot to do with people that were around me when I was a little person kind of projecting and telling me some pretty crazy stories. One that I'll never forget is supposedly I ran out on Lambeau Field with my uncle, and my uncle was born with polio. So he had to chase me out onto Lambeau Field. I would really like to do that now. I at least have an excuse,
story,
you know. But yeah, that was so. Every time I ride, that's part of why my commitment to what we call Wheelie Wednesday or Two Wheel Tuesday. Yeah, it's riding a bike, but there's so much more that goes into it. It's the people that you meet, the conversations you have. The fun part, obviously riding the bikes are fun also, but to see somebody come to a skate park or whatever and just work the hell out of themselves on a trick and not get it, and then all of a sudden they got it. And we talk about glow like this, man, you actually can, I don't want to say steal their energy, but it's borderline stealing their energy. If they land something or they succeed, it's like,
It's contagious.
yeah,
It's like a bomb.
and I call it a new school way of thinking or riding, because back in the day, you were a selected person to be with a core group of people who were at a different level. And just like now, every time you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, so on and so forth. Well, you don't want to be the best rider in the group either. You want somebody to challenge you. And what I found is the person who's the best and still humble enough to ride with you,
Oh yeah.
what you can do for them, you can't test their skills.
Yeah.
But what you can do is draw them a map of what they need to do. Meaning, I want to see you do this trick, and this trick.
Whoa.
And for whatever reason, I don't think people have pushed them like that in certain ways. it's a neat experience. Anybody who has never been to a skate park needs to just go, just observe the camaraderie. Even though there's the battle between bikers and scooter kids and skateboarders.
It doesn't turn violent, does it?
At least there's not rollerbladers anymore.
Well, there are a few. There was a guy that dropped in the bowl and did a backflip out of the bowl on rollerblades, and that's the kind of stuff where you're just like, there's people around here who can do that. You know, that is part of the neatness of it. But when you're at the park, that's your group, because everybody there they're out for that. They're out for the same thing.
Oh yeah.
You could literally hate each other on the park, but once you're in the park, that's it. It has nothing to do with
Have you ever
attitude.
sustained an injury from BMX Biker?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't start riding again up until 2 years ago. I took a long time off.
How long do you think?
And I say a long time in BMX, but I always had a bike underneath me. A mountain bike, a custom chopper, something two-wheeled.
Oh yeah.
Three-wheeled at sometimes too, but always a bike, pedal power. I look at it as meditation. People have their own definition.
Oh yeah.
The key to it is you can't have your mind anywhere else but there. So everything else disappears. All the BS in the world, the crap you take at work, things maybe at home, what have you, that's your meditation. And it works. Some people use, I'm sure, boxing, kickboxing.
Yeah, anything.
Cooking,
weight training.
drawing.
Yeah.
Anything
Your
that
life
will help
depth.
you.
Something you could chisel your skill at and work towards every day.
And slowly become successful through those little growth. Back to hurting yourself. So I only started riding BMX 2 years ago. And I say that because I am 10 times better than I ever was before. And I'm not even close to what I consider.
You mean so you started back up
Yep.
2 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can do more things now than I ever even dreamed of when I was a kid.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
The
Yeah.
right group of people, and that has its own story all in itself. That is the one thing that I could give somebody for knowledge is when somebody says, I want to introduce you to someone, do it. Take their advice. I've now met the people I should have met 25 years ago.
Wow.
And it is, I still to this day talk to the person who said they wanted to introduce me to this group of people. So it's really,
oh man, isn't it magical?
It's neat. It's neat.
Man, I'm in the same boat with meeting John and these guys and you. You know, I reached out to John on a whim, and since then I've met you, I've met Josh Russell, who everybody knows, I'm sure, who's watching. I've met Evan Eugene, Mitch Munster. Yeah, Mitch Munster. Just all of these amazing people that are, not only are they, you know, highly skilled people and highly productive and doing amazing things in the community, but are willing to have me around and help me, you know, gain experience and share knowledge with me. So big shout out to all those people.
Yep.
Especially Josh Russell. You know, lately he's really been taking me under his wing. He's been showing me a lot of knowledge, and he just reminded me a couple nights ago that, hey, just ask, and I will teach you.
He's a driving force.
Yeah,
He
really
is a
something.
driving force. And like you said, I thank him a lot for what he's done. I wouldn't have met Jonathon. I wouldn't have met you without Josh. We have a mutual friend that passed away, and when he passed away, I started to think about if Jason wouldn't have introduced Josh and I, where we would have been, and if we would have ever met.
Yeah.
It was that's a walk down can be a dark alley, but it's, as long as you're thankful for it, it won't be.
Yeah, well, it's not worth thinking about it. We are where we are, and it's a good place. So I'm very happy to be here.
Because we do the weekly podcast, I think we have a little bit of an advantage to see each other progress.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you're not with somebody at least on a consistent basis, you just see them go from 0 to 100. You don't see the building and the process and the networking they do. I mean, it's really neat, very neat.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was taking a look at your website. I think I've said that like 3 times now.
I was going to go back to the injury part. I have a really good story about the injury.
But I was curious. Oh, you want to?
Yeah, because you'll love this.
Okay.
In Green Bay, there's an indoor park, and they have a bowl, which, for anybody who doesn't know, it's an empty pool.
Mm-hmm.
Was confident, maybe slightly cocky, and fell. But when I fell, my ankle and foot stayed on the top of the ramp while my body and everything else went down. So I heard the best way to describe what my ankle sounded like was if you took a piece of celery and just turned it, no cutting, just so that's a scary deal. Got up, shook it off the best I could, and drove home.
Oh my God.
And then proceeded to have Amber take my shoe and my shin guard off because I couldn't get it off. My ankle was about the size of my knee for 3 weeks.
You didn't go to the doctor?
No, just didn't.
So you?
I just iced every day. I took a 5-gallon pail and went.
I mean, you have to have broken several bones.
I don't think so. I think it'll tear a tendon.
Really?
You learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bone, I mean.
And this was within 2 years ago?
This was just last year.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Man, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you're.
Puts you in check.
Yeah.
And I wasn't respecting the ramp. And the ramp said, well, you're going to learn the hard way then.
Is there any precautions that you take, like, for joint health and stuff? Because, like, my knees are killing me. And, like do you consume bone broth or turmeric? Or anything like that?
I've been told turmeric.
Yeah.
No, CBD is the cure-all for me.
Yeah.
As long as there's some pain you're going to have. You're never going to get away from it all the way. But it sure helps.
Yeah.
At least it makes it tolerable.
Do you do any stretching, or you just warm up by just going there?
Probably should do all of those things. The one thing I can say that is, and I don't even really like riding with guys that don't, or girls. If you don't wear a helmet, I really don't want to be with you. And back in the mountain bike days, the original owners of the Recyclist, we were out at High Cliff and riding our mountain bikes. And we stopped, of course, to talk sauce. And when you're clipped in, your feet are locked into the pedals. And Becky had fell over. And of course, that's funny. Ha ha ha. It is actually. It is funny at the time.
Yeah.
But what no one thought was funny is when she was laying on the ground, her head was here, and right here in the trail was a rock buried. So if she didn't have a helmet on,
Oh yeah.
that tipping over on her bike, as silly as it sounds,
Yeah.
done. it might not be the nicest thing to say, but because I have a helmet on, I'm going to ride one time more than you. Coming over the years and seeing some of the guys, there are some unbelievably talented riders in the Fox Valley.
Wow.
And when they crash, it's that awe, like everything goes silent, and you just, are you okay? After, I think it takes you crashing to go, okay, I'm going to put everything in check and respect things a little bit more. But if you're not wearing a helmet, then they make them for a reason. And you can't tell me your head's not worth $100.
No.
Simple as that. I mean, I've heard it in the industry. I worked for shops. Some of that is sales. About 1% of that is sales. The rest is true watching, experienced, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I really don't want to be that guy that has to call your mother, your significant other, and
definitely
say, hey, we're at the hospital right now. I don't want to, I mean, it could happen, and you have to check the man in the mirror, get out, go. You have to do what you have to do. But I don't want, if it can be avoided by simply wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's super simple.
I've seen more than one news story about, bicyclists being, involved in accidents with cars where having a helmet definitely saved that person's life.
It's a different style of riding. The coolest thing with skate parks, you don't have to worry about cars.
Right.
Road bikers, I feel so bad for.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
And the only people who truly respect a biker is another biker who knows, hey, if I get too close to them, I can either make them get sucked into the gravel and go into the ditch. There's not so nice things that can happen. And road bikers to me that's dangerous, man. Dangerous.
I lived in Madison, Wisconsin for quite a while, and I did not drive.
Okay.
That is a city in Wisconsin, believe it or not, that you don't have to have a car in, which is nice. I did do a lot of biking to get around, and I was involved in more than one car on bike incident. Luckily, and I wasn't wearing a helmet. Luckily, both of those incidents, I was fine. My bike, not so fine. And in both cases, the car or the driver did not stick around. So it's never fun having to carry your bike with you the rest of the way to work.
I can imagine what messengers in bigger cities feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, to me, you have some issues.
Madison,
Like the primal fight or fight or
Fight or
flight.
flight.
Yeah.
Every day, all day. They're so like high. The adrenaline is just like coursing.
well, I want to say two things. One, Madison is a city that is very conscious of bike traffic and has really been designed to accommodate bike traffic as safely as possible. And the incidents in which I was struck by a car, I was not following the rules.
Yeah.
I was not in my bike lane. I was not paying attention. So it was on me.
If you're going to ride on the road, you need to obey the stop signs. You can't, just because you're a pedestrian does not give you, it doesn't give you the right to blow through a red light at a four-way.
No.
I've been in those situations too, and it's, if you're gonna preach or really believe in that, you have to believe in the other side of it too. Now accidents happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm I'm gonna guess that the person that hit you didn't.
Oh no, that would be like a psychopath, obviously. Which
They're out there.
The incidents are few and far between, but
Right.
Now,
but you admitted you weren't following.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Somebody has to be not following the rules, whether it be the driver of the vehicle or whether it be the biker.
Not exclusively, but yeah.
I think it's very rare that an accident will happen where everybody is doing exactly the right thing.
Touche.
Yeah, telephone poles that jump out, I don't understand that, but I've seen it happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not...
Well, I had a parked car jump in front of me once. So. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
And I ended up in front of it. So
over the top?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. That was when I was a kid. I think I was like 12 or something. I shook that one off, but it was a little scary.
Wow. It makes me laugh because I think back to how I found the back of a car and my teeth found the back of it. But I had this brand new speedometer on my neighbor's bike, and I never saw that before. So I got on it as fast and as hard as I could and turned the corner, and I was looking down.
Yeah, you're looking down. And that's what happened to me. I was using a flashlight with a bungee cord as a headlight. So I'm trying to like adjust this and get it strapped on while I'm moving pretty quick. I mean, I was going pretty close to full clip. And yeah, just all of a sudden there was a parked car.
Ouch.
Yeah. You know what? It honestly didn't hurt that bad. I got lucky. I know how to roll with, I know how to become a ragdoll apparently, because I've been in several accidents where I've escaped with very little harm. That should have been way worse.
Gotta be the ragdoll, man.
Mm-hmm.
I am the ragdoll. Well, when you don't see it coming, it's pretty easy to be the ragdoll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Keeps
you
your
see
body
it coming,
nice and limp
you're
through
stepping
the
up.
whole thing. But yeah, that's...
Yeah.
So I have a question. So 2 years ago, what caused you to pick up the BMX bike once more?
Oh, wow. So backing up to the person who wanted to introduce me back in the day to a crew called the Baco guys. If you ever get a chance, look up Baco. They're guys from here, from the valley, who set the tone for flatland freestyle.
Whoa. In general?
In general.
Oh my gosh. That's BAKO?
A guy from Green Bay, I think is still ranked 14th in the world. You would never know. Humble can be. But what got me back into it was a friend of mine who really never biked, started collecting old 80s bikes. So it was flashbacks. Well, his collection it's beautiful. Introduced me to another person in the industry, and lo and behold, that person that I should have met 20 years ago, I just met 2 years ago. Going on 3. I consider him one of my closest friends. Business owner here in Appleton. So his time is... He doesn't have much time as a business owner. So when he can do Wheelie Wednesday, it's awesome. But seeing the 80s stuff, seeing the childhood stuff come back, it got me involved again. And
is it okay to...
It's addicting. I'm not going to... I cannot lie. It's an addicting... A lot of it has to do because I grew up with those. I wanted that bike.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now you can get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that part of being an adult with computers. Yeah.
Like, no, this is what I want. But that's what got me back into riding. Same friend asked me to go up to Green Bay on Sunday night when a bunch of guys were up there, and next thing I know, I'm on a bike.
Wow.
And went, I really miss this. The biggest thing throughout time, I was always told I'm too big for a little 20-inch bike. Well, at some point in time, somebody was too big and figured out, let's make the bike longer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that enabled all the older guys to be able to get back on them because you weren't, you know, you felt like you feel like a little kid, kind of. I mean, till the next day. Then the stiffness, soreness.
Yeah, that's where floating comes in.
But at least you're getting exercise, or else what are you gonna do? Sit down and watch TV until the next day, and then, like, at least you have something, because that's the trap. Once you get comfortable with just work is done now, just chill. Like, nah.
Well, that's not comfortable. I don't know.
You still gotta exercise and go let your. Because if you stop letting your energy go, you're not gonna have any more.
We could talk about TV for a long time. Next time you're watching television and there's a prepaid program. Prepaid television program. Look up the definitions of all those words. Mm-hmm. It's scary. And when a person told me that same thing, it took a minute and I went, wait a minute. No, you're not going to program my mind to think like that. No way. No way. You have to use judgment and not get sucked in. But sometimes it's nice to, you know, it's nice to just sit back, let the TV kind of rot your brain. But it does. But again, it's time away. And there's nothing, as long as you can control it.
And just being aware of it makes all the difference too. Because when you're not aware, it's just the scary part.
It's a weird. I think that's changing for a lot of people. Like the idea of like just vegging out, like that's what everybody does after work or school for like 4 hours or something. That's going away.
Netflix and chill though.
Yeah, Netflix and chill, but
oh boy.
I think that has broken the spell. You know what I mean? Like
There's only so
the TV
much
waves were like
Yes.
the airwaves were like some sort of controlling spell that just had people like, I don't know, man. The flicker rate was programming your brain, and like, that's been finally broken because people aren't watching as much cable or air TV.
I mean, it's also really expensive.
But
Right?
But if you do have cable and you do watch TV over the air, one exciting thing coming up is that Floatlight is going to have a new commercial. And on that subject, I say we, but I really mean John and the crew here are looking for a member of the Float family who would be willing to model for this commercial, willing to do some scenes. Of course, there would be trade in the form of floats. So if that's something you're into or something you want to explore, anybody can be a model. There's no specific body type, no specific gender or identity of any kind. If it's something that you feel you have in you, give these guys a message or come down here and talk about it.
Jonathon, do you know the airtime that you'll be set for?
30 seconds to a minute. I can decide either way.
In what time frames? Meaning like 5 to 11, 11 to 5.
Frames, man.
Okay.
There's gonna, because we have a schedule, we have a budget, so there'll be some prime time. There'll be some very early. There'll be 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll be on a whole bunch of different networks. On ESPN, we'll be on like Fox News Channel, the big affiliate. We'll be on the Cooking Channel. I'm excited about that one. Lifetime, like A&E, stuff like that.
Wow,
that's all over the spectrum.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. The reason I ask is if you're not a TV watcher, if you know that time frame, then you can at least turn it on for background noise.
I'll give everybody the time frames once we get those and which channel they're on. And some people don't watch TV, which we respect. We'll also upload the video, of course, to YouTube, Facebook, and everything else.
It's neat to see, especially just hearing the words ESPN and Float Light in the same.
I know, that's awesome.
Right?
Chill.
Yeah,
Fox
it's
News.
like, wow, that. I mean, to me, that's big time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you really get much bigger than that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
so it won't be like we may do some stuff on the local Fox 11, but we're talking about like Fox News Channel, the big one out of New York. So we're doing it's called Spectrum Reach. It's basically allowing local businesses to inject into a specific market. So
Yeah, so when you're
Yes,
watching
we got a model.
so yeah,
yes.
you brought out the call, and there we go.
Do it up.
That would be awesome.
Melissa Batter.
We love her.
Awesome.
Batterman.
Batterman. Yeah, it's cut off. I can't see the
Early
full name.
morning commercials is the move, though. Those are the ones that stick because you're in your sleep cycle.
So we'll be able to, we're gonna probably run some
like-
commercials on some of the local news channels like WFRB, TV5, Fox 11. We'll probably do some stuff with I think it's WACY. And then we actually do have a commercial right now every Saturday morning on Channel 32 before the Packer or during the Packer talk. It's a football talk show where they have different Green Bay Packers on.
What? No.
The Blitz?
What is
that
Channel
what it's
32?
called?
I don't even watch TV.
I don't remember it's called Football Talk, and I can't remember the name of the guy who does it, but it's run under WACYT or W. I don't remember, but anyway, we gave 16 floats to Green Bay Packers, so we're just waiting for them to come in.
that
Oh, right
will be
on.
that will be cool.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah,
of those
that's
guys.
really cool.
I mean, you can't tell me that those guys don't.
Eat it.
Their bones don't hurt, man.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
float, like seriously, here's a shout out to any Green Bay Packers who want to come float.
Yeah, floating is a big deal in athletics, especially at that level.
Yeah, you can tell them
Yeah.
the Patriots installed float tanks in their stadium, so
And we've had Giants float here, so you'll fit.
oh, yeah.
So we have had some guests that are just.
Oh, you mean
towering.
okay?
We've had
I
some
thought you meant like New York
Giants.
Giants.
Oh, no, not
Like,
the Giants.
what are the
We've
Giants
had some
doing here?
traveling,
We had
We had
Eli
David
Manning.
Bay here as well. It's fine.
Well, we
we've
did
had
have David Bay,
some
yeah.
NFL players come float.
Awesome.
They stay at the Red Lion. That's right, Paper Valley Hotel. So yeah, the Green Bay Packers need to come down here, or their competition is going to start smoking them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just from floating.
I also get the Vikings in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really. I do.
I'm just kidding.
I'm a Packers fan, but if a Viking comes in here, I'm a Vikings fan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure all teams are welcome here.
All are welcome.
Yes.
All are
All
welcome.
All are
welcome.
welcome.
What is that, SpongeBob?
I don't know. Man.
All are welcome.
I couldn't tell you, brother.
SpongeBob.
Yes, he did.
I didn't say it like that, though, yeah.
Anybody who's in the physically active in that setting, in professional, even amateur,
Oh, yeah.
they should be floating out bare minimum once every 2 weeks. Bare minimum.
Yeah.
I did say in the post I was going to give away some floats on this stream. I haven't done that in a long time.
We gotta have raised the.
Y'all
ante.
better start commenting because we
Yeah.
don't know who's here.
Yeah, how
We
does
literally
that
made this a
work?
we didn't really respond to comments, but invite
There
your
wasn't
friends. Tell them
questions.
here's your opportunity to win a float.
Let's have some trivia questions.
Ooh,
Trivia?
what kind of trivia?
Ooh.
Some BMX questions.
Ooh.
One BMX, one floating, and one.
What happens when you cross a BMX biker with a scooter?
Ooh.
Get a crying kid.
Tangled. Remind me of that when we're off stream.
It's too controversial.
Very, very too controversial.
I saw a kid under wall ride though, and
Yeah.
he was like 90 degree to the floor. I'm like, dude.
There are some,
Some scooters can actually scoot.
yeah. When you start seeing them do, I think they call it a bri flip. It's a back flip with the scooter spinning the other way.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh, did that little kid just do a backflip? I mean, it's,
Oh, you were saying that.
yeah, it's amazing.
It is
Amazing.
weird, like the waves of different things, like skateboarding, BMX, rollerblading, and then scootering.
The inline skating,
Yeah.
the few people I think that still do it, they're amazing to watch. They're amazing to watch.
They have so much freedom too. It's just like running, and then like in a cityscape.
Yeah, why are there so few people doing it now? I wonder.
not as cool as skateboarding, bro.
It's not as cool. Well, no.
Or BMX.
Look,
Yeah. What's up with these?
you know what? Who cares how
Well-
cool it is? I understand there's some connotations.
Yeah, it's
Connotations.
it's a lot
Yeah.
like the automobile industry. You see waves of it.
Yeah.
Lowriders, tuners, classic, truck, mini truck.
Yeah.
Then you will see that repeated.
Does
through
you
the
think anybody's
generations.
roller skating anymore?
Oh yeah.
Is that a thing?
Oh,
There's always some people doing stuff that you don't.
Yeah.
Even think. There's even people doing.
But is there like
disco.
an underground like roller skate scene?
Well,
There's
there's
underground everything.
I mean,
Is there an above ground roller skate scene?
there's the there's the actual roller derby.
Oh yeah,
but
the roller
then-
derby.
There's,
That's a
Do that
whole
again.
nother.
Do it again.
But then there's a
Okay.
oh boy, oh boy.
Sorry, don't mind me. Melissa was like, "I love your pants and leggings." I was like,
Oh.
we should carry
"Thank
them.
you. It matches my new sweatshirt." I wore it specifically
Sandy.
for this.
We only have 6 watching right now, but we always get like 1,500 views every week.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
shows are for the people in the future.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. A lot of people in the future.
Afloat,
Y'all gotta be on now.
Like,
Yeah, they
share.
gotta.
Like now.
Well, you know
Like,
what?
By the
share,
way,
subscribe.
just blast Melissa. Tell her to message us. I think they can hear us, but hear me.
Maybe if they.
Yeah, Melissa. What did you want her to do?
Just
You can be our
Just
model.
send a message.
Send us a message.
send a
Facebook
message to Floatlight.
To Floatlight
and Facebook.
on
Yeah.
Facebook.
But if you can get
Yeah.
down here in the next 5 minutes, Megan will give you her leggings.
No.
Well, if you
I
can
won't.
get down here,
I have a crystal in it that I share.
why don't we do this? If anybody who's in the chat right now can get down here in 5 minutes, they will get a float.
That's not even reasonable.
Oh, okay. It's
The
not
next person to
reasonable.
buy a kombucha will get a float.
Oh, it's kombucha. That's
A
right.
growler of kombucha. The next person.
By the way, and
I'm just kidding.
I've been meaning to
Why are
mention
you
this.
kidding? You can't make a claim like that and then take it back.
I'm just.
You lying
I'm
now?
just brainstorming. We're just brainstorming here.
Steve!
Steve, come
What's up,
get some
Steve?
kombucha.
Yeah, right. I'm waiting for him to show up.
Get a growler of kombucha, Steve. Come try it. We have mango turmeric, jasmine cherry rose, and watermelon.
No. You have mango turmeric, watermelon, and then mango turmeric. Or
What happened to the last one?
Jasmine.
Cherry rose.
No, that one got removed. We also have
Palo Santo rose.
Palo Santo.
Yeah.
What
Yes,
was the one
which
that we
I've
just
been sampling them
indulged in?
tonight.
These are different flavors. These are the
The bottom of the barrel.
yeah, these are the private selection. This is hibiscus ginger. We have citrus mojito.
Okay, that citrus mojito was actually really good, guys.
And this is the green monster. It's chlorella, matcha, and spirulina. It's actually aged about a month. And the crazy thing is the sweetness really, it's more syrupy sweetness. And at first it wasn't like that. The characteristic and nuance completely changed in 1 month. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you could collect these flavors because every week it's a different, they get exchanged.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of skateboarder, check that out.
Woo!
You don't see that every day.
Yeah.
Knees aren't like how they used to be. It's not the worst thing in the world, but
No, you can still ride.
yeah, I wish I could still. I've devoted so many years to skateboarding and it never got good. That's how you know you love something, when you just keep doing
Just
it.
keep
and you
doing it.
just-
I'm sure you're
Regardless.
better than
Regardless.
somebody who hasn't done it at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got
touche.
that, man.
And like now I could just longboard and I'm doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, there you go, man. It was all leading up to the longboard.
I hope not.
No?
So Josh, I'm gonna cut to this mobile cam. You guys can still talk, but I'm just gonna show them the new keg.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Taking
Can they still
breaks
hear me?
in between
Yeah.
helps. I
Okay, yeah.
think.
Check out
Most-
this kegerator. This is from
all
BFF Kombucha.
fancy.
You can come down here and fill us up. I think it's $16 for a growler, right?
So,
How big is
Yeah.
the growler?
64 ounces.
64
Yeah,
ounces.
$16.
Okay.
Or we have
And
our
once-
cute little growlets.
Once
32
you
ounces exclusive.
once you purchase that growler, you can refill it for what, 12? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get some tax with the cards.
Oh yeah, whatever. You know, that's just life. But I've been sampling it liberally, if I can say that word, off that tap, and I gotta say it is amazing, fresh from the tap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definite change.
It's
Yeah.
different, yeah.
Yeah, you got to come down here and get some. Have some after your float. You do that, right?
Oh,
Definitely,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That's usually when I drink
that's part of our. That's part of the MO. You guys
Yeah.
can sample it after you're done.
Yeah, and the growlettes, the 32-ounce ones, those are exclusive.
They're
They're
so
not.
cute.
You can't get them anywhere. This is. You might not be able to get them for like. They might not always be in stock. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
So like,
Yeah,
get them while you
Rolex are
can.
so cute too. I love them.
And we also have totes where you can put your bottles in a little bag, and it's a whole fashion statement now.
That's
Awesome.
so cute.
It's pretty comfy.
They have a really cool leather case on that goes on the bike's top tube that carries the bottles.
You got one on your bike?
I have one, but it's hung on the
Yeah,
handlebars.
Oh yeah, let's show one.
Ah,
So here, there's the prices too, if you want to tell them.
Little 32-ounce. Be the life of the party. Start a picnic.
It was covered by Josh. Show it again.
They're
Dan's
so
so stressed.
I'm not stressed.
You all right,
This
buddy?
is just how I breathe because of Wim Hof exercises.
Oh, you're doing your breathing.
whim,
Always
Yeah.
crazy.
and an ice bath to boot.
I just had an ice bath before I got here.
Man, he said that's so
Not bath, just shower.
I just got
I wish I need a frozen chest freezer so I could make an ice bath.
When hurting my ankle and putting it in that 5-gallon pail of
yeah.
ice, that'll give you a whole new respect to somebody who can submerge their whole body in ice. That is.
Yeah, that's quite intense, man.
I might just get 2 5-gallon buckets and just do both of my legs. That would be real nice to work my way up.
Yep. Yeah.
And then just go in the lake one day.
Just jump in.
One February day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I have both
You do the
tried.
polar plunge?
No.
Really?
What?
This is my first year doing Wim Hof. I just started in the summer.
Ah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dan and I have both done cryotherapy now.
And John.
And John. And it's cold. I mean, it is very cold. But I think submerging in ice water is a different level of discomfort.
Exactly, Steve. That's what I brought up to John.
like how you described that.
I brought that up to
That
John.
is because it is. I
It
mean,
really is.
Remember, John, when I said that?
I did.
Oh, you guys are gonna do
We're not going to. It's just a thought, but that'd be cool.
Ice bath.
yeah. Well, if you do, I'll come down next time I have a fever. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to have to set up a pump for it.
It'd be easy.
Sweet.
You guys should put in a sauna.
We have one in the back.
Do you really?
Yeah, we have an
Infrared.
sauna here.
Like, because I think
not
going
actually
from a
set
sauna into a float.
It is an infrared
Would be
sauna.
Does it get
Awesome.
hot, too, or is just the light?
Oh, it gets hot.
I like to get warm. I like to get warm before I float.
We should offer
It
that.
just doesn't get steamy.
Yeah, but then your float would be cold.
That's how I like it.
That's why I take a
Really?
cold shower
Yes.
before
Why don't
my
you?
float.
No, you take a hot shower.
I take a
Yeah, that's
cold
what I do. I take a hot shower.
Yeah, if any of you guys are honestly concerned about your tank, like if say you run a little bit warmer, granted we can always fluctuate the temperature of the tanks, but if you take a hot shower before your float, when you do enter your tank, it will actually be cold.
I feel like it's hotter because you're already
No.
warm and it's just getting warm.
I do.
Yeah,
For
but
me, it's cooler.
it is
If I take a
because
hot
you're
shower.
increasing your blood temperature,
Yeah.
your body's temperature, so it's gonna be hotter than the temperature that's in the float tank.
We just
So that
haven't-
way when
we
you
haven't
step in,
set
it's
it up
colder.
yet. But obviously, Steve is interested in the infrared sauna.
Yeah, we can set it up.
Sign
Yeah,
that up.
absolutely.
Cool.
Oh, Dan set it up.
I'll set it up.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why you might want it to feel cooler when you get in, it just helps keep you from it. It regulates your pulse more. So if that is something, because for me it's distracting. I don't want to be able to hear or feel it, and if the water is cooler than my skin, I don't as much. So that's the reason I like it cool.
When you float, do you ever flick your finger?
How do you mean?
Yeah.
Just like that?
That is the
I don't think
coolest
I
sound
have.
ever.
It is.
Oh, you know what I do that makes the
Yeah, I know what you mean.
one thing I
Absolutely
have to
love it.
recommend is do not crack your knuckles under the water. It is
That's like the coolest thing though.
really,
Yeah,
I
it's like-
hate
it's like
that
it's like
sound.
a submarine.
You
Yeah.
hate that?
It's not a good sound.
I love it.
It sounds cool when I notice it sounds cool when I do it above the water.
Or do your
Yeah.
neck and
Oh,
spine.
I love
yes.
cracking my neck in there, man. That is so good.
That's what I was doing today. I was working on cracking my back. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that back crack,
Woohoo.
man.
I mean, and not just cracking, but stretching
It's just in
in
general.
there. Like you have
Just moving it
so
like a
much range
snake.
of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Energetically, just bouncing off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, pretending you're in a zero G environment, like on a space station. Yeah, and just doing like the back and forth.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yo, I've done that too.
Yep.
Yo.
do a happy baby. You know what happy baby is?
No idea, man.
It's a yoga
That is a
pose.
weird thing that Dan just said.
It's a yoga pose where you hold your ankles. So do that in the float tank. You're gonna flip upside down.
Yeah,
And your head is gonna be underwater.
I'm gonna pass on that one, bro.
Cause you put all your weight up here, so you're gonna be top heavy and just flip.
Whoa.
Cool.
Try it out.
Try
I
it
don't
out.
recommend it, man.
My name is Dan.
Dan, man.
Lieutenant Dan. Just kidding, Dan.
So what are we doing for? Are we still doing the float thing?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
giving away floats.
Oh,
Yeah.
Y'all.
Whoever can provide a beautiful quote.
Yeah, say something beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anyone that can say a beautiful float, right? Beautiful quote.
Float quotes.
No, just a quote. Doesn't have to be. I don't know who. I mean, there are some float quotes, but
Words to ponder in the float.
Do you have a tagline? Do you have a tagline for Float Life?
yeah, take a journey, floating light.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We take a journey.
Floating light. That was a concept that John coined.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. Did you not tell me that?
I did. I just can't remember doing it.
Wow.
But I did say that.
You sure did.
Do you have a motto?
I can't remember doing it. I love that.
Do you have a life's motto, like in 2 sentences? What your life is all about and your journey and everything?
Boy, oh boy. I used to carry a keychain that said "Go like hell."
He
It's a
just
float.
says,
What was that?
Go like hell.
I told you I wasn't kidding.
That was many years ago. But no, not. You know, I guess not. Maybe not. No. But it would go back to that man in the mirror. Take a look. And there's a lot of things you can learn from your reflection.
Yeah.
I'm not that angry guy. Well, maybe I am, but try not
you
to
don't
be.
seem very angry right now.
No, oh, man. No.
Was it a process that you had to shed? Being
Oh,
an angry guy?
big time. Big time. I look back at how many years that I spent in like negative space.
Whoa, negative space?
Dark.
He's talking physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a physics concept, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that negative state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Like the kind of the victim thing.
Yeah. It's all like the same kind of feeling.
Yep.
You feel
Where
it in
you're-
your body, you know, like, and if you're feeling that, you just know, like, you gotta correct the way.
It's where you're, I think, blaming the wrong things for
It's just
why
low
you
vibration.
why you don't feel good.
Yeah.
You know, and really, why you don't feel good comes down to how your mind is reasoning between external forces and your internal reaction. And if you're not doing that the right way, you don't feel good.
The phrase you create your own reality.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There lies where, yep, I created that reality, all right.
But I did want to point out Scott did have a very beautiful quote.
Which one? He just posted a really.
Yeah, I know, but the first one, as they expect to see you drowning, keep on floating.
Whoa. That's heavy, bro.
What else has he got? The more
Let
go,
go.
you
The
wanna
more
How are we gonna-
electric I become, Resonating across the tides. This has got to be some song lyrics, Dad. Come on. I know
Resonating
you
across
better
the
than-
tides.
Danielle can have a
currents.
Scott, of course.
Touching the sweetest
Steve,
skin.
Scott, Danielle.
I don't know, but that is awesome.
Boom!
Whatever that's from.
Steve.
Yeah,
Scott,
Dad, tell us what song that's
Danielle.
from. It'd be great.
Let your light shine to help guide others.
That's a good one.
You are correct, Danielle. Boom.
Yeah,
Bam.
when you've got the truth in you, you gotta
Speak
share
it.
that with people.
Yeah.
Speak it.
You can't keep it to yourself. That's right. We're gonna let that light shine.
Tell me anything
Whatever that means to you, you're
more
gonna let it shine.
powerful than putting a smile on somebody's face.
Bye, friends.
But they may be coming in now.
Like,
They
come
What I
in
was-
for that gift certificate.
Did you know that?
Pardon me?
They can hear us out there.
I that's why I thought you were running outside before, and I'm going,
It was too loud. It was creating like a reverberation.
Yeah, I could hear it.
sweet.
Well, anything else?
Any final words, David?
Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it, and I'm sure we could talk for another couple hours.
Yeah.
Make sure to check us out tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah,
you're quite welcome. And yeah,
the
check out Now Trending.
Now Trending.
I'll
podcast.
see you tomorrow for that.
Yeah, that's very business orientated.
Did anybody discuss a topic for tomorrow?
No, I'm sure that'll be the pre-game session before.
It always happens.
Yeah, I think you know what
Whatever
I think we do our best at it.
Oh yeah, it makes it more natural.
Whatever happened to that Google Doc? I thought we were.
Yeah, it's still a Google Doc.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna have to send me the link again.
I sent it to you 4 times. I'll send it to you again.
4 times, John.
Okay, fine. Maybe 2.
I don't think it was even. Well, I think it might have been 1 time. I don't know. But anyway,
I thought you were more competent.
I'm not. I've never. If there's one thing I don't claim to be, it's competent.
You are competent.
Except for at work.
A
You're
positivity
the
bomb.
producer
That's
of
cool.
Floating Light Live, Josh.
Well, you know.
How are you
I do
not
what I do what I can,
competent?
man. You know.
All right.
And any time you can come and float is a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Say goodbye, friends.
Bye, friends.
I don't want to go.
It was an
Goodbye,
honor and a
friends.
privilege.
Thank you.
Good night.
Say goodbye.
See you next time.
Okay.